Hey folks, reading is something which I've been talking about. Which book are you reading recently? Reading takes us or transports us to a different world. Today, in this video, I'm going to tell you about a book which I read sometime in the past, and the lessons or the files which I learned from them are something which I'm going to share with you. The book I'm talking about is The Millennial Mindset by Harv Eker. Hey folks, I'm CSK and you're watching me on CSK Speaks. As an educator, I keep telling people to read. And I'm sure many of you have shared some of the books and recommended me to read some books. I enjoy reading all of them. Of course, of late, reading has taken different shapes, different forms. There are audiobooks, there are digital books, there are even podcasts which we keep listening. So anything is absolutely fine. But today, I'm going to share with you one book which I did the good old way, page to page, edge to edge reading. This is the book I'm talking about called The Millennium Mindset. You can see that there. And it is written by Harv Eker. I thank my friends who actually gave me the access to this particular book. And today I'm going to share with you because I was glancing through the files which I created after having read the book. And today I'm going to share those files with you. Now, these are 18 files. I'm going to share them in two parts. Part 1 will cover the first 9 files, and then part 2 will cover the next 9 files. For the sake of convenience, we're going to call them as wealth files. Yes, the Millennium Mindset has created wealth files. Now, when I talk about these files, I will keep recommending or referencing two people, the rich and the poor. Now, don't mistake the rich for people who are wealthy, who are rich, and all that we learned when we were growing up, that the rich are nasty people, they do anything, they bend values, they make money. That's not the kind of rich mindset I'm talking about. Of course, they have money. I'm not saying that they don't have money, but then those things which we heard and learned when we were growing up are not necessarily true. Because today, better time than ever is when you look at the newspapers, when you look at surroundings. Good people, people from premier institutions, well educated people, middle class, humble background people are making it big and rich. You may call them startup entrepreneurs, you may call them unicorns, you may call them risk takers, you may call them highly educated people, but they are making good money. Look at the news which are coming to us from all corners, whether it is Bangalore or Chennai or Hyderabad or Delhi or Pune or Mumbai. It's not those generationally rich people who are getting rich. There are, like how we call in education, first generation learners, there are people who are first generation billionaires. Yeah. Elon Musk, for example, of course, richest in the world, but just take an example. Okay, there are many people in India. In fact, the other day I read a newspaper article on a 12-year-old boy. A 12-year-old boy who's invented a low weight school bag. He's applied for patent and patent is pending, but the minute he gets it, you can imagine he and his richness, how it's going to grow. So here I'm talking about these two people, right? So with that background, with this introduction, let's get started with the first 9 wealth files. Wealth file number 1. Rich people believe I create my life, while poor people believe life happens to me. Simple words, but think about them. I create my life, life happens to me. Now, this is not inspiration, this is not motivation. This is the hard fact of life. Anybody who has reached a particular goal has reached only because they believed in that goal and they believed in themselves to reach that goal. So rich people believe I create my life, while the poor people say life happens to me. That's the mindset I'm talking about. That's the wealth file number 1. Number two, the wealth file number two. Rich people play the money game to win, while the poor people play the money game to not lose. I remember carom when I was a growing up kid. We used to all cousins sit across and play caroms as partners, right? And there comes a stage in the game where you know that you are not going to win. Now that's the time you have to be cautious of the decision you make. Are you going to defend for the rest of the game or are you going to attack? Now that choice comes from this mindset. This mindset as to I am going to play to win, fight to kill, or I will play not to lose. Rich people play the money game to win, while the poor people play the money game to not lose. They may sound simple, but they are two totally different worlds. Wealth file number three. Rich people are committed to being rich. No rocket science, right? Rich people are committed to being rich, whereas the poor people want to be rich. Now, want is a very dangerous word. It's a wish list. It's a wish list. Committed, it's a must list. It's a must list. So the difference is between the wish and the must, right? So rich people are committed to being rich, while poor people want to be rich. Wealth file number four. Rich people think big, while poor people think small. Think small. In fact, I remember this and I want to share this here. It's very pertinent. Think so big, think so big that your worst failure is better than somebody's best success, is bigger than somebody's best success. Think so big that your worst failure is bigger and better than somebody else's best success. Now that's what sums up this particular wealth file. Rich people think big, while poor people think small. Next, rich people, wealth file number five. Rich people focus on opportunities, while poor people focus on obstacles. As a leader, as an entrepreneur, when I talk to my team, I ask them, okay, here's the task, here's the to-do list, this is what we want to accomplish. How many of you will come back to me with reasons, while how many of you are going to come back to me with results? Both begin with R, right? Results and reasons. But what am I interested in? I'm interested in results. I'm not interested in reasons. There are dime a dozen reasons for anybody who does not make it. Am I interested in them? Of course not. I'm interested in results. So rich people focus on opportunities while poor people focus on obstacles. Both of them begin with an O. Which one are you want to focus on? Wealth file number six. Rich people admire other rich people. This is interesting. Rich people admire other rich and successful people, while poor people resent rich and successful people. So when I hear somebody, what do I do? When I hear about somebody's success, what do I do? What is the first thought which crosses my mind? Is it jealousy, hatred, envy, or is it applause? Is it gratitude that I know them, that they have succeeded, or is it encouragement and appreciation? That's the important thing. So listen to this carefully. The wealth file number six sets the tone for your shift in the mindset. Rich people admire other rich and successful people, while poor people resent rich and successful people. Don't blame yourself. We were all growing up. When we were growing up, we were part of that generation where we were told that rich people are bad people. And that's one of the cause that it has got subconsciously ingrained that anybody who's rich and famous and popular, we feel they are bad people. And we naturally emanate negative emotions. Of course, I cannot generalize this, but then that's the way the world is designed. But today, things are changing. And I'm sure our children are going to live in a better world because affluence and affordability is no longer going to be limited to only few people, right? But then the mindset is what matters. Wealth file number seven. Rich people associate with positive, successful people, while poor people associate with negative, unsuccessful people. There is a saying, tell me five people with whom you keep your company and I'll tell you what your future is. So true, isn't it? You are defined by the company you keep, and rich people know that. They very well know that. So they keep the company of successful and positive people, while poor people are always busy with negative, unsuccessful people. Gossiping, cribbing, blaming, all these things happen when you keep company with unsuccessful and negative mindset people. So you want to be rich? I'm not saying get rid of your company. I'm saying shift your focus and find new company. There are two different things. Getting rid is cutting them off and staying alone. Finding new company is just putting them in the background and finding new foreground. That's the way to make the shift. Wealth file number 8. Rich people are willing to promote themselves and their value. They know their value and they are ready to promote their value to people around them. But poor people think negatively about selling. Today, you got to put your skills in front of people for them to take stock and notice of you. But how many of us are comfortable doing that? I sit across interviews. In fact, I keep meeting hundreds of candidates for different positions. When I ask them the question, introduce yourself, they're not able to say more than 3 lines. They talk to me about their qualification, they tell me about their family, and they tell me about their native place. Is that all? Because they don't feel good about their own value. And that is very clearly evident when I sit in front of them. And when I don't hear that from them, how am I going to employ them? And when I ask them what is their expected salary, they give me all those flashy expectations. I'm not saying they're wrong, but then if you don't tell me what is your value, how will I be able to reward that value? So rich people are willing to promote themselves and their value, while poor people think negatively about selling, about telling about their value. The wealth file number 9. Rich people are bigger than their problems. Poor people are smaller than their problems. In fact, my coach, my mentor told me very nicely. He said, whenever you find a problem, ask yourself, am I bigger than this problem or is the problem bigger than me? If the answer is you bigger than the problem, then it is not a problem at all. It is just a glitch. You're going to solve it anyway. But if you think the problem is bigger than you, there's no problem. There's no worry to get disheartened. Ask yourself the next question, which is what people do not ask. Ask, what can I do to become bigger than this problem? And start working towards it. And the minute you become bigger than the problem, you're returning back to the option 1, which is you're bigger than the problem and it's just a glitch. So rich people, wealth file number 9, rich people are bigger than their problems. Poor people are smaller than their problems. So these are the 9 wealth files as part of the part 1. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to let you sink this in and then create your own future and make the transition towards the rich people of the world. In the part 2, I'm going to come back with 9 more wealth files, which completes the total 18 wealth file set, which I learned from the Millennium Mindset. And I'm sharing that with you guys so that you can share it with others and also implement in your life. Thank you very much for watching CSK Speaks.